Hello everyone, it's been a while since I posted last. It's been just extremely busy at work. About maybe half of the delivery drivers I work with quit, and they can't seem to hire anyone new, which in some ways is good for me because I got a small raise and I've been getting tons of overtime, which is helping financially anyways, so that's good. In general, things have been a bit of a disaster actually the last couple of weeks. What happened was the state parks that I have been staying at went onto their summer schedule. So that means their rates went up by about 50%. I was paying about $20 a night when I was staying there during the work week. And then now it's $27 a night for the economy section. But you really have to book ahead of time using their reservation system. And the only reasonable way to do that is to do the online system, which charges an extra $8. And by the time you pay for everything, it ends up being about $35 a night. I have been going there basically once a week to just take a shower, but it's just not really affordable otherwise. So in some ways, again, that's good for me financially. I'm actually spending almost half of what I was on campgrounds than I was before. The only problem is there's really only one campground that has both some amount of internet connection and is free within driving distance of work. And yesterday was actually the busiest I've ever seen this campground. And anyways, I stayed there, and I've been staying at that campground during the week for about 2 weeks now. Apparently, no one's actually following the rules. There's just people that have been camped out there for like the last month, maybe 2 months. So in some ways that's fine with me. No one really goes up there except the occasional person that camps and some horse riders. So that's kind of what I have to do for right now. Other than that, or it's just like staying at a rest stop or something. So anyways, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for camping for the next few weeks. I was hoping I would be out of Western Washington by summer, because camping there just gets crazy. And I knew that ahead of time, but it's especially crazy this year, I think. The good thing is I've been able to head out to Eastern Washington basically every weekend because the North Cascade Highway is open, so it's really great out here, except this week I've had a major bug problem with mosquitoes and stuff. But in general, it's just been really nice out here. It's a beautiful area, and there's great free camping all over the place, and it isn't really that busy, which is surprising, but awesome. The Schoolie has been a bit of a mess lately. So basically what happened with the Schoolie is the first thing that went wrong with it was my lights that I had on the ceiling were these LED strip lights that were adhesive. And so I stuck them onto the roof, and they worked great for a while. They started falling down on one end, and I was just planning on gluing them back up. And eventually the LEDs just started going out like one after the other. And eventually it was only down to about like 6 LEDs in a string of like 100. And that wasn't really putting out enough light. So that LED light strip got taken down and went away. I've replaced them with these, which are like under cabinet magnetic rechargeable LED lights. So the light quality I don't think is quite as good as the LED light strip. But the nice thing is I don't have to plug it in anywhere. And that was a huge problem with the LED light strip, is actually plugging it in, because it have cords hanging down all over the place. And also, these are magnetic. They attach magnetically, and the roof of my bus is metal. So I can just stick them up there, and it works great. As you can see, I'm not in my Schoolie right now because that wasn't the only thing to go wrong. The second thing that went wrong was my water tank ended up getting a crack in it somehow. I don't know how, but it was a crack right next to the spigot, so it basically wouldn't hold water anymore. And so that wasn't great. I've had to go back to just using water bottles and this old Coleman small, I think it's like 1 gallon water container thing. It works. It's what I used for quite a while, actually. But yeah, basically I don't have any running water again. I tried ordering something new, and the order just got canceled. They went out of stock, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Apparently that's been happening a lot lately with a lot of different products. I've been hearing that from customers because I deliver for Amazon, so I hear about these things. And yeah, a lot of customers are saying that products are just getting canceled. Having said that, people are ordering just huge amounts of stuff right now, so that's probably part of the problem. So the reason why I'm not in my Schoolie now is, well, last week, the parking lot to the storage unit where I keep the Schoolie was getting all repaved and everything, and so I couldn't actually access my unit for a few days, which happened to be my weekend. But that's okay. I'm actually really glad that the storage unit really takes care of their property. They do a great job with that, so I'm not really complaining. It's just I couldn't use the Schoolie last weekend. And then this week, yesterday actually, I took it out, went up to the campsite after work like I usually do, and wasn't really any problems. And then I drove from there to a state park to go fill up my 5-gallon water tank and eat lunch and stuff. I ended up not filling up any of the water tanks because after I parked, I had a bag of garbage that I just needed to take out. I got out and noticed there was a trail of oil leading down the parking lot to where my bus was parked. And it wasn't a huge amount of oil, but you could see definite drips all along the parking lot. And I looked under the bus, and yeah, sure enough, there was a small puddle there, and it was still dripping, although the drips were slowing down. So after a little bit more investigation, it looks like I had some engine oil leaking out of the top end of the engine on the backside, and it was running down and dripping onto the ground. It could also be diesel. I don't actually know for sure, but it sounds like basically the possibilities are it's basically some O-rings. Either it's on the oil-powered fuel pump, or it could also be for the turbocharger pedestal. There's some O-rings that go on there. It's just the stand basically that attaches to the engine and holds the turbocharger on. So those could be leaking as well. Either way, it's actually not that big of a deal to fix, and it only leaks when it's running, which is why I don't have giant puddles in my storage unit. But yeah, it's leaking a significant amount of something, and I need to get that fixed pretty quickly. The fuel injection system on the 7.3 Power Stroke that I have, it's an oil-powered system, so it's oil actuated. So the nice thing is if the oil level does get low, which so far I did check the oil and there's still plenty of oil in there, but if the oil pressure does get low, it just will shut off the engine, which is good. It'll save the engine from destroying itself if I lose too much oil. So it's not a huge deal that I have to take it in, because it needs an oil change, just regular maintenance anyways, and I was planning on doing that either next week or the week after. Because this last month I've been paying for the car repairs. I had to get new tires for just my regular car, and just general maintenance again on it. It just needed repairs before the Schoolie did, that's all. And I still use it to get to work, so I had to do what I had to do. And then I had to pay for registration for both vehicles at the same time, which, because I live in Seattle technically, it was something like $400 or something total, $400 or $500, something like that. So I'm basically in my car for now until I have enough money where I can go take Schoolie in, which should be very soon, considering how much overtime I'm getting, and I'm not spending a whole lot of money on fuel driving my car across the mountains instead of the Schoolie. So financially, I'm actually probably saving money from all these disasters, but it's definitely a lot less comfortable, and right now I'm kind of trapped in my car because there are so many bugs outside, and I was being an idiot and didn't bring my bug repellent. So anyways, that's how things are going for me right now. I am just hanging out in North Cascades. I don't actually know how I'm going to get through this next week because it's Memorial Day weekend, and all the campsites are crazy booked right now. I'm hoping the campsite that I usually go to, that's free, is going to be open for people. Otherwise, it's going to be sleeping at a rest stop for me in my car. The thing that's kind of frustrating about this is a little bit better than what happened when I lived in my sailboat. I don't really make enough money where I can just quickly save a ton of money and hit the road. That just doesn't work for me. I have to actually have a way to make income remotely. And the projects that I'm working on, and even just the job applications, they take a lot of time to do. And then there's big gaps in time where I just can't do anything because I have to work, and then things start wearing out and breaking because, you know, it's been a month or two. And then I have to pay for those, and just everything ends up being a lot more expensive than it needed to be if I just had enough money that I could just get on the road. Fortunately, I have a lot more options of where I can go because the Schoolie moves a lot faster than the sailboat did, and there's just a lot more opportunities for places to stay. So I'm working through it. Still applying for jobs, still working on business stuff, but it's just so slow that I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just really glad that I'm not renting anything right now. The rents are just insane at the moment, and I suppose I technically could rent something. I do periodically check the rental listings just to see if it would be worth, especially for the summer, renting out an apartment or a guest house or something. And no, it's not. It's not worth it. Most places anywhere within driving distance of work look like they're charging like almost $1,000 a month, and that'll get you a roommate basically. And I've been in that situation many times, and it's certainly not worth $1,000 a month. And that's too large of a percentage of my income. I am not okay with that. Technically, they would probably let me do it, but I am not okay with that. There's one other thing that I wanted to mention in this video, and I forgot about it until I started editing, and that is, I'm out here in the middle of Okanagan County, out in the middle of nowhere, and it used to be the house prices out here were dirt cheap. Like, you could buy, 5-10 acres of land with a house on it for, $50,000, and that was only like a couple years ago. Now everything out here is almost 10 times the price, and I'm not actually joking. It is literally like 10 times what it was. There's small houses that are going for like $500,000. There's a house just down the road from where I'm staying right now that I think they're asking about $10 million. To be fair, it is on 500 acres of land, but even so, $10 million for 500 acres out in this part of the world, that's insane. But that seems to be the way things are going. Lots of rich people buying up farmland right now. This isn't the most valuable farmland since it's completely detached from reality. I mean, that's why people homestead out here, not commercial farm so much. But anyways, I just thought I'd mention that. So anyways, that's how things are going, and thank you for watching me rant about this, and feel free to leave suggestions down below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.